Well, hello. Welcome to the show, kind of. I don't know if we're really gonna do a show this week. So, here's what's going on. So, I did not realize that Zach is MIA this week. I think he's on a trip or something like that. Anyway, so I do not have a co-host for the show this week, and we'll see. We'll see if this stays up or not. Doing like a one-person show is not an easy thing. So, let's see here. Checking a couple things here. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Well, we'll see how this goes. So, be nice to have a co-host this week, but we'll see how this goes here. So, we'll start off this week with oh, you know what? Let's do this. I'm thrown off now because I'm not used to doing a show by myself. So this is new for me. So here we go for this week. We got to talk about Yahoo and their data breach that they famously had. Wacom, are they selling your personal data? Of course, Microsoft news. Huawei is suing Verizon. We'll get into that. And there's been a fine on Apple for the slowdown that they did a while back. So with that, let's roll the intro. So I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very short show this week, but let's get into it. So, so Yahoo famously suffered numerous data breaches from 2012 to 2016, and I think we've all heard about these by now. And there was also one in 2013 that affected all 3 billion of its users. I don't use Yahoo services, so like, this doesn't affect me, so I'm not super concerned with it. But users can now submit claims for either credit monitoring or cash compensation because of the breaches that happened. And it's part of a proposed class action lawsuit that's been filed against Yahoo now. Excuse me. So if you had a Yahoo account anytime between 2012 and 2016, you could be eligible. Now, you have to be a United States citizen or live in Israel. So a resident of the United States or Israel. And that class action lawsuit then may affect you. Let's see here. So the total amount of the settlement fund is $117.5 million. You got to think, though, that there's 3 billion users, and not everyone is gonna seek some compensation from this particular breach, but there's still a lot of people. But that's up from a proposed 50 million settlement that was rejected by a judge, and Yahoo is going to use that settlement fund to pay for a minimum of 2 years of credit monitoring for individuals, and a cash payment of $100 to users. And you know what? I should go back because, 3 billion users on the platform. How many of those are actually isolated to, the United States and Israel? So I guess that's another thing to look at. But here's the thing. In order to be, I guess, qualify for take a look at something right here. But in order to qualify for that $100 payout, or I guess potential $100 payout, you must prove that you already have at least 12 months of credit monitoring, and final cash amounts may be higher or lower depending on how many claims are filed. Obviously, the more people that that have to be paid of having as a result of having their information stolen in the data breach, okay, I'm getting lost in my notes here. So let's go back here. So they must prove that they have at least 12 months of credit monitoring. The final cash amount may be higher or lower depending on the claims filed. There could be compensation for time spent dealing with issues resulting from the breaches, and out-of-pocket costs users may have had to pay as a result of having their information stolen in the data breach, such as paying an accountant to help refile a falsified tax return, and reimbursement for some of the cost of Yahoo's premium or small business services. Now, if you want to file a claim, you can. The forms are online, and you must submit your claim online or by mail by July 20th. Now, before you get too excited, and this is the part where I was kind of skipping to earlier, but before you get too excited, you got to remember like the Equifax situation. If a ton of people are looking for a settlement, obviously that money is limited. It's gonna run out. So if a ton of people go through that process and opt for the cash payment, you're probably not going to get anything close to that $100 that you're hopefully seeking. And in addition to the 2013 breach that affected 3 billion Yahoo users, this proposed class action lawsuit also covers a 2014 state-sponsored hack that affected more than 500 million accounts, a 2012 data security intrusion, though Yahoo says there's no evidence that users' credentials, email accounts, or contents of emails were taken from that, and a breach that lasted from 2015 to September 2016, where hackers were able to gain access to approximately 32 million Yahoo email accounts. So, this is part of the reason why I don't use Yahoo services. No, I'm just kidding. There's other reasons why, but I just have elected to utilize other services. So, and nothing is, shall we say, hack-proof. We've said that many times on the show before. Nothing is hack-proof. Everything can be hacked. So, it's just a matter of doing your part to keep your information safe. So, have strong passwords. Password managers, they work really, really awesome. Store your passwords in there and have safe passwords. Oh, I'm like pinging now. So Zach is in Colorado. I believe doing like a ski trip. Looks like. So hope he's having fun. And that's like one of the like only outdoor activities that Zach actually does. But let's move on here. Wacom says it's not spying on its customers, and users can opt out of data collection. So Wacom responded to reports of its tablets collecting app usage data from its users, and I guess it also shares it with like Google Analytics or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how all that is working, but clarifying that Wacom does not have access to personal data. So basically what they're saying is yeah, we're just collecting like usage data. Wacom's privacy policy lets the tablet collect aggregated usage data, technical session information, and information about hardware devices, as well as recording the name of every application that was opened. I don't know why they need that information. I don't know if it's like for, there was a crash and what other applications were open. Let's see. Wacom says all this data is collected, is for quality assurance and development purposes only. I think we've heard that from like every company probably out there. It's like one of those, good PR speak things. So, the company, so all the data for Wacom is anonymized and unidentifiable, kind of like what Microsoft does, but like kind of not. And they say, we apologize for any confusion regarding data collection being done by the Wacom software drivers and the unclarity about the actual information collected. So companies will send out their terms of service. How clear are those terms of service sometimes? And quite frankly, people don't read things all the time either. I'm guilty of that. I don't always read all the terms and conditions. So probably should, but I don't. Now, the company further clarifies that users can choose to opt out of data collection, which, here's the thing. Okay, yes, great that they give you that option, but why isn't that? So, I think Apple's good about this. Microsoft, I think, is okay at it, but usually a lot of things will ask, hey, do you want to... Google's good about this when you install Chrome. Hey, do you want to send usage data back to us to help improve the product? Yes or no? So the fact that it's just turned on by default, don't necessarily like that. Yeah, at least they give you the option to turn it off, but it should be off by default. Or like an opt-in, not an opt-out thing. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. Let's see here. Now, Wacom says when a user does participate, information is sent to Google Analytics server and not Wacom server. So, I guess they're using a third party to... I don't know if that makes it easier to collect the data, store it, why exactly they're doing that, but... I guess... Now, Wacom does not collect MAC addresses and product serial numbers, but Google Analytics does collect IP addresses, although Wacom is unable to access such IP address data. So, whether or not you're okay with Google, storing your information, which, let's be honest, Google probably already does, so, I've come to terms with it. Google, Facebook, my cell phone provider, they're, it's a thing. Data is sold these days. Personally, myself, yeah, do I like it? No. But I'm not gonna, super worry about it. I don't... If I was really overly concerned with it, there are things that I could put in place, but I guess I'm just not. It doesn't bother me. And I think part of the thing is that I grew up with that. I grew up in this digital world where computers have always been a thing, and it's just so... I know for, the older generation, though, they're like, no, they're not okay with it, and there are people out there who are very much, Zach, he does not, he values his privacy, he uses a VPN. If I am doing something in a location, if I'm sitting in a coffee shop or something like that, or on public Wi-Fi, then yes, using a VPN is a very, very good thing. And it's not just, I don't use a VPN because I want to block access as to where I'm going, I guess, from my ISP. I'm blocking it because... it's more of a security thing than anything like that. So at home, on my own private network, now I don't feel the need to use a VPN. So now, Wacom says that the software driver collects data on pen tablet models. And again, I think this is a thing for a lot of companies where, we see it with Google, we see it with Apple, I'm sure, so I've got an Elgato Stream Deck. I don't know if Stream Deck collects any information. I'm sure there was something in the terms of service that I just kind of skipped over, but I don't think that this idea of data collection is necessarily a bad thing if a company is upfront about it and you're willing to provide that information. Because in the case of, Windows, where... You might have like a software bug or something like that, or Adobe products where a program crashes. You can submit a log file basically back to the company, and it gives them information as to why a particular crash or problem with a program may have happened. And I'm sure the same thing with this in terms of the hardware, where it allows them to, or maybe not allows them, but it helps them to improve the software. And so I guess it is, no, it's like hardware software side in this case, I guess, but would allow them to basically fix issues that are already there, and then improve upon them so that crashes and other bugs, because that's just a part of software, but other bugs aren't there anymore. So basically helping improve the experience. So, but again, back to this whole idea of I think that's something that should be not on by default. It should be something that's optional. So now, basically some of this data that's going back to them, it's collecting data on how the customers use its devices, which software applications are used, and what tablets are in use. Again, I'm sure all this data so that they can help improve the platform, basically. Now, it also tracks apps like the Wacom Desktop Center and Wacom Tablet Properties Control Panel for Windows, and the Wacom Tablet Preferences pane in Mac OS. So, again, we're going back to that whole idea of just trying to improve the ecosystem all overall. So, now they say our development and customer care teams could review across all aggregated users of a product, for instance, the most common function settings for pen buttons, so example like right click and undo, or the most frequently viewed tabs, or select the links in the Wacom app. We have no access to personal data. We cannot relate to any specific user as the data is anonymized and aggregated, and we do not know who users are as individuals, and cannot see what users are creating and doing in third-party software applications. So, well, I guess the Wacom tablet is designed to work with third-party applications. Okay, so I don't know if Wacom has their own programs or not. And if they do, then can they see? I don't know. I don't know enough information about Wacom tablets. The data collected in the Wacom Desktop Center and Wacom Tablet Properties Control Panel, or the Wacom Tablet Preferences pane, is only related to the pen input, express key settings, and preferences when using Wacom products. So yeah, so I'm guessing it's just kind of like anything where we're seeing like with AI, trying to build better products. Build an ecosystem that works better for the end user, which I'm okay with. But again, I think if I'm allowing that data though, I think I should have that option up front to say, hey, do you want to provide this information back to us or not? If they ask, it depends on what it is, but I would be more willing at that point to say, oh yeah, you can collect some data to improve the experience. I'm okay with it. So, but you gotta ask up front first. Don't just do it. I think that's where people have problems. So, moving on to our next topic, our favorite part of every show, Microsoft news. So, Microsoft news for this week. This is kind of funny. So, Microsoft, for a while now, has been trying to make Teams compete, with Slack and other instant messaging applications. So on Monday, Microsoft Teams went down. Yeah. So it was down for nearly 3 hours, and the reason why? Well, Microsoft forgot to renew a critical security certificate. I don't actually understand how the security certificates work or anything like that. But I know that they're an essential part of programs, and I think I don't know if they like auto renew. If that's I'm not a software developer, so yeah, I did programming in school, and it was not my favorite thing in the world. I understand like how I understand the concepts of programming. If this is happening, then do this. If this is true, then run this code. If this is true, then run if else. So I understand the concepts behind it, but I don't necessarily understand how it all works out overall. So anyway, so because of this, users were met with error messages attempting to sign into the service, and the app noting it had failed to establish an HTTPS connection to Microsoft servers. So what I'm wondering is if this was like on the website of things. I'm guessing, and so that I'm guessing it was probably due to like the HTTP certificate, which makes sense. So encrypted traffic that way. So Microsoft confirmed that the team service was down just before or just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and then later revealed the source of the issue, which of course was the certificate that had expired or was not renewed. So Microsoft said, "We determined that an authentication certificate has expired, causing users to have issues using the service," explained Microsoft's outage notification. Microsoft then started rolling the fix out at 11:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and by 12 p.m. Eastern Time, the service was restored for most of the affected users. Microsoft confirmed the fix was successfully deployed at 4:27 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, and this is why, like, it's always fun to kind of bash on Microsoft because they always seem to have things like this happen. But it was an embarrassing mistake for Microsoft to make for its flagship Office Hub software, and especially as the company just started rolling out like TV ads for Teams to try to compete with Slack. So but it's surprising to actually see this from Microsoft. I guess because the company develops software like System Center Operations Manager, which is built for like monitoring things like certificate expiration. So, it's like with Microsoft, like it's like with Windows, or we talked a while back about how the Surface was having issues with the discrete graphics card driver just like dropping out and like disappearing from the system. It's like, so you're building the software and you're building your own hardware too, and you can't figure those two things out. Like, I don't know what's happening over there at Microsoft, but it makes it very comical for us to to present news on them every week. So, but yeah. Huawei. Remember Huawei? Oh man, there's been so much controversy about them. But Huawei is suing Verizon for alleged patent violations. So Huawei says, or has announced that it's going to be suing Verizon for alleged patent violations. They say, so this marks the latest twist in the Chinese tech giant's adversarial giant's adversarial relationship with the U.S. But anyway, they claim that Verizon is using 12 patents owned by Huawei without authorization, and this was filed in Eastern and Western district courts in Texas, I guess. So the patents relate to network technology, with titles like sending method, receiving and processing method, and apparatus and adapting payload bandwidth for data transmission. Now, none of them involve 5G, but a person familiar with the matter who requested anonymity describes them as crucial to network functionality. So, I think that Huawei is actually they are. They're they're the world's biggest maker of telecoms equipment, and often makes a point of highlighting its R&D expenditure, reaching almost 15% of the company's revenue in 2018 at $15 billion. Huawei's a huge company. I thought they were just some little startup company, but no, I guess not. But since 2015, Huawei has received more than $1.4 billion in patent license fees. The company says in a statement, to date, it has also paid over $6 billion for the legitimate use of patented technologies developed by industry peers. 80% of these license fees have gone to companies in the United States. So, Verizon's products and services have benefited from patented technology that Huawei developed over many years of research and development, adds Huawei's chief legal officer. For years now, we have successfully negotiated patent license agreements with many countries. Unfortunately, when no agreement can be reached, we have no choice but to seek a legal remedy. So, I don't know actually what they're claiming has been stolen. But anyway. And so, I heard something interesting where the UK is looking to possibly utilize some of Huawei's technology for 5G, I think. But it's only going to be a part of it. So anyway, but with so many people trying to develop things, and I don't know if it's based off of 5G, but I would imagine so. With what they're claiming here, the technology and things like that. Everyone's working on this. What is the possibility that something very similar has been developed across different manufacturers, different telecommunication companies. So, the dispute between Huawei and Verizon dates back to last year. And the Wall Street Journal reported in June that the Chinese company was demanding payment to license more than 200 patents. The New York Times said licensing fees for these patents could amount to more than $1 billion, although Huawei isn't demanding a specific sum. Because it would need more data from Verizon to work out an estimate. So if that's the case, then I guess maybe I'm not understanding how Huawei, is okay, what's been stolen then, and how do you know that they've infringed on your patents? So I guess I don't know what patents that they're saying have been infringed on. So. It makes it difficult to, anyway. But it could stretch into hundreds of millions of dollars, and Huawei is focusing on these 12 patents because it has strong evidence that Verizon is using them, and courts prefer to deal with smaller numbers at a time. Now, Verizon has not immediately responded to a request for comment, so, yeah. But that's the thing that's happening. So, and let's see what else. I'm just checking on a couple of things here. So, Apple has been hit with a 25 million, I think that's euro, fine in France for iPhone slowdown controversy. Remember this? So. A French regulator has hit Apple with a €25 million, 25 million euro fine over its controversial software updates that slowed down older iPhones. So this was a couple years ago. The General Directorate for Competition Policy, Consumer Affairs, and Fraud Controls announcement was first spotted by Apple Insider and notes that Apple has agreed to pay the fine and will display a press release on its website for 1 month. Now, the fine is a result of a probe that began at the beginning of 2018. And the controversy first emerged at the end of 2017 when users spotted that the latest version of iOS was throttling the performance of older iPhones. And after that was found out, Apple admitted that the quote-unquote feature was first introduced in iOS 10.2.1, and it was designed to prevent unexpected shutdowns as old batteries degrade over time. Now, batteries do degrade over time. Lithium-ion batteries do not last forever. They have a lifespan. So typically about a year and a half is what kind of get out of a battery. And so what they're claiming is that the reason they did it was the first issue is they never communicated to any of Apple's customers. So Apple never said anything to customers. Let's see here. So they never communicated to its customers, who didn't realize that they could reverse the throttling by they didn't say anything about being able to replace the battery, and not having to buy an entirely new device to basically fix the problem. So they left that out. But the bigger problem is that they didn't even say anything initially about the whole slowdown. So it was a thing that they rolled out, and at least I don't think there was anything said about it, but it was something that they rolled out, and then it was just there. And of course, people are smart; they figured it out, and they're like, "Oh, well, Apple kind of duped us on this one, and we're not happy about it." So, let's see. So there was also no option to roll back their phones to previous versions of iOS, basically to disable the feature. So you couldn't turn the feature off. And you couldn't roll back to turn the feature off. So you were just kind of stuck with it. And I think the thought process was, we're just going to secretly do this, and then people's phones are just going to start, being throttled down. Again, Apple is claiming that they did it, to prevent, your phone from just, shutting down randomly in the middle of something. Who knows? The DGCCRF took issue with the fact that iPhone owners were not informed that the updates of the iOS operating system 10.2.1 and 11.2 that they installed were likely to lead to slower operation of their devices. As a result, the French authorities concluded that Apple was guilty of misleading commercial practice by omission. Yeah, I would agree with that. And this is just the latest financial penalty that Apple has had to endure in the wake of the controversy behind all this. More significant was its battery replacement program that reduced the price of its battery replacements by $50 for a whole year. And that move is thought to have resulted in as many as, get this, 10 times more people buying new batteries and extending the lifespan of their older phones. In fact, I think it probably brought to, people knew that they could put new batteries in their devices, but I think this whole controversy made that explode in iPhone devices and maybe in the cell phone world overall. But in my establishment, we still continue to do a very, very large number of battery swaps, and in the midst of all this, we were doing a ton of them. So it was like a marketing thing for us too, because so Apple had their prices, and then we were and where I live, we kind of live out in the middle of nowhere, so we don't have an Apple store near us. The closest one is about an hour either way, north or south. So it was good for us, Yeah, so the move is thought to have resulted in, as many as 10 times more people buying new batteries for their devices. Excuse me. And then expanding the lifespan of their older phones. So, people are keeping their old devices a lot longer, which honestly are still good devices, especially Apple. I will give Apple credit there. They support their devices for a really long time. And so, if you can just throw a new battery in it, get some more life out of your device, like, that's wonderful. So Apple has also been fined 5 million euros by the Italian authorities and faced multiple lawsuits and an investigation from the Department of Justice over the controversy. And despite accusations that the feature was meant to drive sales of its new devices, Apple maintains that it was designed to prevent the device from unexpectedly shutting down so that the iPhone can still be used. Now, you just charge it back up and your phone's going to be fine. You can still use it. It's not like it just... Anyway, okay. So, it added the option to turn off the controversial throttling feature in iOS 11.3. So, that's kind of cool. Couple quick rapid fire stories for this week. So some more Apple news. So last August, Apple announced that it would let more indie repair shops buy genuine iPhone parts, which we were kind of thinking like, oh, okay, like, this is good for the repair industry, the right to repair movement and things like that. But who is it? Vice obtained a copy of the contract that like repair shops basically have to sign. And so Apple can apparently do unannounced audits and inspections of repair shops at any time to make sure that it isn't using like knockoff screens and things like that, which, okay, I guess. Like, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm kind of torn on this, where like, I think like, I don't know. And I get it from like Apple's standpoint where they're like, okay, so if we're gonna, I guess the thing is though, is like, I don't think they're becoming Apple certified is the thing. I think if you were becoming like an Apple certified, repair shop or something like that, then I could see that making sense. But if you're just like buying parts from, so and I guess this is the thing that's always been is like, if you're an Apple authorized Apple service provider or whatever they call it, AASP, yeah, that's what it is, AASP. Then like you have to like follow like Apple's strict guidelines and like diagnose things like in this particular way. And so anyway, but yeah. So because of this though, it's causing some indie shops to basically just say, nah, it's not worth it. Which I agree. And Twitter was broken the other day. On Friday, you couldn't tweet or tweet on Twitter. Down Detector showed that the service had been having problems over a couple hours or so. So, yeah, that's a thing that happened as well. So, well, that is going to do it for our show this week. I know, really, really short show. So, with Zach not being here, not much to discuss and things like that. But, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll have Zach back next week. Let me, hang on. Let's see here real quick. Not sure if this person's still on the stream with us. Can you help with Alexa waking up to custom music? So I have a Google Home, and so I know that like if you subscribe to Spotify, you can use Spotify to like. There's I don't think they call it a skill. I don't know what what Google is calling theirs, but I can. I think I can tell my Google Home to. I believe I can to set an alarm using Spotify as the alarm, or like actually I think I just tell it what playlist I want it to play. And it will go off and play the music at that specific time. So the only issue I found with this is that So I would prefer to have my music just like, put everything in a playlist and have it shuffle when it plays. I found that it doesn't do that. But yeah, I guess that might be something looking into. I don't own a an Echo device, so I haven't played with anything like that. But yeah, I know I can do it with my Google Home. So there's also there's a video up on our channel here. If you have an Android device, you should be able to use the Google Clock app. You actually have to download the specific Google Clock app from the Play Store, but you can use that and Spotify, and then set those two up to use your Spotify music as an alarm clock. So anyway, hope that helps you if you're still watching. So, is it possible to only play one song? That I don't know. I would imagine if you have if you can set it to play a specific playlist, then that might be possible. Just have a playlist with just the one song in it. Or like in the case of my system, or with like mine, like I was saying, it starts at the top of the playlist, and so regardless of how I have it set up, like if I wanted to play a different song besides the first song in the playlist, I would have to actually go in every night and like rearrange the music. So I don't know if the Echo will do the exact same thing or not. If it'll, so let's say you had a bunch of songs in that playlist. I don't know if it's just going to start at the top. The Google Home does. So, yeah. So I don't know. There are a couple options. So yeah. So either, just see if it'll just start up at the top and just always play that song. Or like I said, you could probably just create a playlist with just the one song in it. So, let's see. Anything else in chat? Well, we'll wait here a second. So, I was kind of bummed out. I was hoping Zach was going to be here this week because had a lot of prep done and had good topics for discussion this week. Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. Hopefully that helps you out. But yeah, like I said, also if you have an Android device, I don't know if you do or if you're rocking an iPhone. But if you're rocking an Android device, like I said, we've got a video on the channel that can that'll show you how to actually, what here. Well, let's see here. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. If like I said, if you're using an Apple device, I haven't found a way to actually be able to like, because they're probably gonna build that in with like their music app and things like that. Keeping the Apple ecosystem, but if you're using Android devices, last I knew you could use the Google Clock app and Spotify together. So, anyway, so, sorry, I'm just looking at a couple things here. So, anything else? Any other questions before where we end the stream for this week? Give it a few seconds here. So not completely sure what how things are going to go for 2020. We say this kind of at the beginning of every year where we want to produce more content, and I really do. It's just finding time to do it. So hopefully, this year we'll have some more time to actually produce some more content and things like that. But we'll see here. we'll see what happens. So, all right. I don't see any other questions rolling in or anything like that. So, with that, I think we're going to end our stream for this week. Thanks for joining. If you liked it, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. We're here every week, so or usually every week on Sundays. So, join in. I'd love for you to be a part of the show. Join us for our discussions and hang out, listen to some tech news every week. So, anyway, thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Get subscribed down below if you haven't done that already. Please turn on the bell for notifications so you get notified whenever we live stream new videos. And we'll see you hopefully next week here on the show.